We are just a little bit more than a week out from the Iowa caucuses. It is very much go time, and for those candidates who want to have a chance to win, they have got to do everything they can. Their money has to pull more weight, their staff has to pull more weight. The question is, where do you draw the line on what you ask your employees to do? And sometimes they draw it at the totally wrong place. This is a report coming from friend of the show, Ken Klippenstein for The Nation. Take a look at what he found out from inside of the Biden campaign. On December 30th, with Iowa sheathed in snow, the campaign instructed staffers that its inclement weather policy was being suspended, according to staff text messages reviewed by The Nation. The policy had allowed them to avoid driving during potentially hazardous weather conditions, but at that busy time, it was being called off. And here is one of the messages that Ken Klippenstein has now shared. It's from Kay Glad, Biden's regional organizing director for Iowa, saying, hey guys, all weather policy is dissolved throughout the entire state because we have 5 weeks left until the election. If it feels like unsafe driving conditions, then talk to me separately. But quite frankly, I don't want to hear any complaints because you know how important this is and how much time we have left. Can you imagine typing that out and then looking at it and be like, it's good, I'm gonna send that one. Quite frankly, your concern about not wanting to crash in horrible icy roads in Iowa in the winter, I don't wanna hear about it.
Listen, you're upset about this, but this does not, I don't think this merits even an article.
Really?
Written.
Why is that?
Because it is extremely important whether you can move the needle 0.1% to maybe potentially exceed expectations in Iowa by a little.
That's true, especially when it's proportional allocation of delegates.
Yeah,
so like winning doesn't really even mean anything.
There's a huge difference between 14 and 13 total electors.
I can't even say how much.
Delegates.
And so if some barely paid staffer has to die in a fiery wreck, one delegate?
This is what.
But hold on. Yeah, let me go to one more message because it's one thing to just be like, I don't want to hear it. But what if I were to tell you that you would be asked to gamble your safety for a marginally improved possibility that you might be hired on to work in other states later? So they said this, hey guys, by showing an ability to be adaptable, flexible, and willing to do what you've been hired to do, then that is the most basic threshold of demonstrating your ability of leading others. Every single day is an audition for post-Iowa, assuming you survive. She didn't put that part, but I'm gonna add that part.
So an audition, so is the real, like, by this being an audition for post-Iowa, what is it, like New Hampshire, you have to drive in a blizzard? Like,
yes.
This is fine. Like right now, if it's a little too dangerous, give me a text.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, let's see. Can you please like hold up today's newspaper next to the snowbank?
Yeah.
Like to show me that it really is that bad? Like, exactly. Is that what the questions are?
You need a TikTok of your car like shifting back and forth to get out of a block of ice or something.
This is one that I saw first and I moved on. But then I kept seeing people respond to it, bringing up more and more really good points about like, I first saw it as like, let's motivate everybody. This is crunch time. If it is too dangerous, let me know, obviously. But then I went back and it did not say obviously. It was like, it wasn't like, we got to do whatever it is necessary to do to like spread the message. And also if you look at like Biden's support, it's not people who are like do or die Biden people. There are no real do or die Biden people. They're like, yeah, I guess Biden people. So to have a do or die attitude to get people to support someone that no one's do or die about, is especially when the die is a very real possibility.
Yeah, which we're gonna get into. Yeah, and I don't think it's gonna work. Like if Andrew Yang asked his supporters to possibly die for him, I think many of them would be like, yeah, sure. Math.
Let's do it, math.
I'm gonna do it.
What's my percentage?
Like Klobuchar people are not storming the breach, I don't think.
They can handle it because they're from Minnesota.
That's true.
That's the difference.
That is true. Here's the thing, we've been sort of joking, but obviously these sorts of accidents are not just hypothetical, they do happen. Now, this is the person working for Biden. It is not Biden who sent this, obviously. I have to imagine that Biden, considering his own family's like historical tragedy involving a car accident, would take this far more seriously than his staffers have. But staffers have died in these sorts of things. So Let's see, in September, Zachary Pressburg, a former field organizing fellow and a volunteer for the Warren campaign in Iowa, died when his car was struck by a semi-truck while he tried to pass another vehicle. He was just 22. Back in 2016, Braden Joplin, an Iowa staffer for Ben Carson's presidential campaign, died in a car accident while trying to navigate slick roads, which left 3 other campaign staff injured. Apparently, there have been at least 5 different car accidents just for Biden staffers in Iowa in the past short period, a few weeks. So it's already happening. Putting pressure on them to drive in conditions that they recognize are dangerous is unacceptable. Now, apparently the person who put out this statement was chastised for it and it has been reversed. That is good news. No campaign should be asking this of their workers. It's why there's another area where unions would be really helpful in protecting their workers.
Yes, it is also like when you wonder what it is like to work on various different types of campaigns throughout politics.
Yeah.
Like the people that I know who do work in campaigns, and a lot of them are like, they worked in 15 years ago when things were a different way. You didn't really see the grassroots campaigning that you do see now for people like Sanders and like Yang. But like, they are like 15 cups of coffee, 3 packs of cigarettes a day, like we gotta do it, man. Like I've heard them as like squirrely sludge people. Like I just have to let's make it happen. And so they fire off these things because it is about winning, and they're running 5 campaigns as part of their big like consultancy. But
exactly,
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is pretty rough.
Just not a good look.
Glad they reversed. I'm glad they reversed and said like, obviously you can't.
Obviously. Yeah. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.